All right, so in our little warm-up here, we have a drawing of the Sneezewart plant. So what we see with the Sneezewart plant is that the way that it grows is that everywhere that there's a leaf, we end up having new branches. So everywhere there's a leaf, there's new branches. And we can follow this pattern of branches by noting down how many there are. So at first we have 1, and then 2, and then we have 3, and then we have 5. So from our 3, every branch that was existing, then we have a leaf and we get 2 new branches. And so this time we had 5, and then up to 8, and then up to 13. So thinking about this sequence, if we wanted to try and say that it's arithmetic, then it would be add 1 each time, but then that fails here. If we wanted to say geometric, we'd multiply by 2 and we fail here. So this is something that's different. We could try to think of a quadratic model and apply ax squared plus bx plus c to see if a quadratic model fit. But if we think about what's happening here, we went from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and 3 to 5. So here we added 1, and then we added 1 again. And now from 3 I added 2. From 5 I added 3. From 8 I added 5 to get 13. And then maybe you can start to see a pattern here. From my next one is going to be 21, and I'm going to add 8. So if I think about the way that this works, is I can start at this point with my 3 and say that each number, the next number, is the sum of the previous 2. So my 5 was 3 plus 2. My 8 is 3 plus 5. My 13 is 5 plus 8. So we have to start with 2 terms initially. So in this case, we could say that our first term was 1, our second term was 2, and our nth term is the sum of the previous 2 terms. So this would work for n values greater than or equal to 3, because then I could start with the second term and the first term that I'm adding up. This is almost the Fibonacci sequence. With the Fibonacci sequence, depending on where you read, starts with 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on. So we were just missing the 1, 1 to start with to make this the Fibonacci sequence. And Fibonacci you see in nature all the time. The Sneezewart plant, we see it. We also see it in the way that sunflowers, the way that they spiral out. We see it in snail shells and their spirals. And I encourage you to do a Google search on Fibonacci. And if you look at the images, it's beautiful what we see in nature.